Hey guys, my name is NFT Paz. I'm going to be doing a quick tutorial on how to inscribe on the Bitcoin blockchain. So to start off, my name is Paz. I'm currently the creator of Ordinal Faces, which is one of the first hand-drawn GIF inscriptions on the Bitcoin blockchain. But you might be asking, what exactly are inscriptions? Inscriptions are pretty much, they can be thought of as sort of like NFTs. They're not exactly like NFTs, but they're somewhat similar. Inscribing pretty much means putting data in an individual Satoshi, and a Satoshi is the lowest form of measurement for a Bitcoin. So you're pretty much sending out a transaction, and within that transaction holds data, which is whatever you inscribe or whatever you send out. So it could be like an MP3 file, it could be a GIF, it could be a JPEG, PNG, anything like that. So this is the creator of the whole Ordinal kind of protocol. His name's Rodarmor. I really recommend to read his handbook, his guide. But right now, these are some of the supported files that can be used. There are a lot of steps that are involved, which I'll be showing right now. So the first step in this process is to create a Bitcoin node. Essentially what a node is kind of like your own like private server that connects to other computers. It's pretty much what runs the whole Bitcoin blockchain. And in order to install that, you will have to go to BitcoinCore. I know some people like to do bitcoin.org. I think that is also a valid site. The only difference between these two sites is that BitcoinCore are the people who actually developed the program, and bitcoin.org is more of just like a useful like resource that hosts like other things. If anything, I would recommend BitcoinCore just because they might have the latest one. So you would have to pick whichever one corresponds to your system. This particular tutorial is going to be mainly on Windows. So personally, I chose the zip file. I know when you run the executable, it's a bit different. Personally, I wouldn't recommend it just because I think it's easier to just hold the whole program kind of like in its own separate folder. So in here, you're gonna have the folder, Bitcoin, whatever version it is, and essentially you just wanna extract the file that's in the zip. Afterwards, you will have this folder. You won't have everything in here yet, but this is the folder you have. The main folder you want to focus on is the bin folder. This is going to contain all the programs that you need in order to install the node and run the node. So once you move your folder over, all you wanna do is open the Bitcoin Qt executable file. It won't look exactly like this, but it'll ask you if you want to add a directory, and pretty much that directory is going to be the place where your Bitcoin node is going to be installed. Keep in mind, this is going to be about 500 gigabytes, probably more than that. So you really want to make sure you have enough storage. I would recommend using an SSD. If you use a hard drive, it may take a long time, but once you select your directory path for the Bitcoin folder, it'll start downloading. Now for me, I decided to download it in my SSD, specifically in the Bitcoin folder, just because it's easier to keep track of. In here, you'll pretty much have the whole kind of blockchain, and this process might take a day, it might take 2 days. It really depends on your system, your connection. I would just let it run while you're doing other tasks because it will take a while. To give a reference, I have a 1 gigabit download speed. I have an RTX 4090, one of the best like AMD processors for the 4090, 32 gigs of RAM, and it still took me about 1.5 days to fully download the node. So after you finish downloading the node, you're going to want to index the node. This is kind of like recording all the transactions and making it into a list. You're easily able to search up things. And to do this, you will need to go into your bin folder and run your Bitcoin D file. The problem that I had, and a problem that a lot of people had when not installing on their main drive, is that they'll open up Bitcoin D and it'll automatically start re-downloading the entire node on your main drive. In order to counteract this, you have to take a couple of steps. If this does not affect you, then it might not apply. Specifically for me, what I needed to do is I needed to right-click this, and I needed to show more options, and I need to create a shortcut. After you create a shortcut, you can keep it in the same folder. I decided to move it on my desktop just because it's easier, I guess. Once you have your shortcut though, you want to right click it, show properties, and you want to run these two commands. Whatever your target says here, keep it as it is. You want to add a space after that. You want to have dash data dir, and then wherever your Bitcoin folder is. Now, like I said, for me, I downloaded the whole node on my SSD in the same folder as the programs. So for me, I would right click my folder here, copy as path, and then just paste it in here, and it's the exact same thing. Make sure to take out the quotation marks though. After that, you want to do another space, do the command -tx index equals 1. What this pretty much does is it starts the process for indexing. So now, once you run Bitcoin D, and make sure whenever you run other programs that you close out of any other BitcoinCore programs because you can't run them simultaneously. Also, this process could take a long time, so you might be waiting here for a bit. It's gonna take a minute, man. Dude, how is it still going? So once you have the properties set, all you need to do is open BitcoinD. It'll start, going through the whole thing, just kind of like validating stuff. And then it'll start syncing the index with the corresponding block. To check if it's completed or not, what you're gonna wanna do is you wanna go into your bin that contains all of the executable files, type cmd, and in here, you're gonna wanna do bitcoin-cli get block count. And if you get this error here where it says there's no authentication cookie, go to your Bitcoin folder, go to your cookie file. Now, no, your cookie file will be here whenever you have BitcoinD open. If you do not have BitcoinD open, it will not be here. What you want to do is right click it, copy as path. You're going to want to do is type in bitcoin-cli-rpc cookie file equals, and then the copy path for the cookie, and then you type in block count. And then you'll receive the total amount that's currently indexed. Now to check to see if it's the most up-to-date one, you're going to want to go onto mempool.space. This will contain the latest ones, which it just passed just now. Once you know it's fully indexed, you can start moving on to the Ord wallet. Now, going into the Ordinal inscription guide, we have a link to the Ord GitHub. From here, you're gonna wanna go to releases and download whichever one corresponds to you. Because of me, I'm Windows, so I'll download the Windows one. I'll open it up, and here we have all the programs. I decided to make an Ord folder inside the BitcoinCore program. I just think it's easier this way. I dragged in all the files, and from here, you're gonna want to launch a CMD while you have BitcoinD open. Just to reiterate, you do want to have a command prompt that is specifically inside this folder, and to do that, just go to the address bar of the folder, type in CMD, and you'll get a command prompt inside the folder. Once you have this, you're gonna want to start doing Ord wallet create. Once you do this, it'll create a mnemonic for you, which is pretty much like a seed phrase. Write it down, remember it, because that's what you're gonna need in case you don't have access to your current wallet. Let's say this doesn't work for you. Let's say there's an error. Some people get errors that you can't connect to the server, something like that. I'll actually show what that looks like. Here we go. So the error is failed to connect to BitCore RPC. For this one, it's essentially asking me for my cookie file. So it's going to be a similar thing to where we go into our Bitcoin folder that contains our node, we copy the path, and to write in the command, we're going to want to do Ord space 2 dashes cookie dash file space, and then the path where we have our cookie. For you guys, it would be create. I already created one, so I don't want to create another one. When you create a wallet, it shouldn't ask to index like this, but once you ask for the balance, it will start indexing blocks, and it will start the process of indexing. Once the process is done, which it could take, I don't know, like maybe half a day, it's definitely less than downloading the node. Once you've done that, you'll have easy access to kind of do anything within the Ord wallet. So I guess the next step would be to try to fund this wallet and doing the same commands depending on what your situation is like. It might ask you for a cookie file. It might ask you for let me do help actually, so you could see all the options. It might ask you for the Bitcoin data directory, which is essentially your Bitcoin folder with the node. So you would copy the path to that, do it in a similar fashion to where we did it like this: Ord space dash dash Bitcoin data directory space, and then the path to the directory and wallet balance. And if it doesn't let you do that either, then you could try to do the Bitcoin data directory and the cookie file. Do both of those at once. I would say do the Bitcoin directory first, and then if it still doesn't let you, it could just be a different issue. Like it could be your BitcoinD or something else. Most people that I've helped, they're usually fine. What you're gonna wanna do to actually fund the wallet is just type in your command, wallet, and then receive. This will generate a Bitcoin address, and all you're gonna need to do is just copy it, obviously. Depending on like where you have your Bitcoin stored, it could be difficult to send funds to this wallet. For example, Coinbase Pro has issues with this. I don't know if any other exchanges or like wallets have issues with this, but if you do come across an issue where you can't actually send Bitcoin to your Ord wallet, an easy workaround I had for this is to use Exodus wallet. Essentially, it's like a wallet that holds various different cryptocurrencies. I would send my Bitcoin from Coinbase to this wallet and then from this wallet, I would then send over the same amount of Bitcoin that I sent myself to this Ord wallet. It sometimes might not let you send over the max amount. If that's the case, I would try lowering the amount you're trying to send. And receiving the funds, it's gonna take a long time. I don't know, sometimes it could be fast depending on like how fast the transactions are. An easy way to check is to kind of check the mempool. An easy way to see your balance is to do Ord wallet and then balance. It will pretty much just showcase the amount of balance, or the balance that you have in Satoshis. Once you have your Ord wallet indexed, funded, your wallet's created obviously, and you have Bitcoin D running, what you're gonna wanna do is essentially do the wallet command, and at the end, do inscribe. And then you're gonna wanna come into wherever the file is that you wanna inscribe. You wanna right click the file, copy as path, type it in, hit enter. And then you'll see here, you'll get 3 different things. The first one is the commit ID. Now, with these transaction IDs, you kind of go in, see the status of your transaction. The first transaction that will be processed is the commit one, and then we'll have the reveal one that'll go next. And depending on the length, it could take, I don't know, upwards to a couple minutes to maybe an hour. It really depends on how busy the blockchain is at the time. So for this, it could take maybe 10 minutes. If I'm not on this block, then I'll be maybe on this block or the next few blocks. And like I said, it could take upwards to like an hour. And one last thing, once your inscription does finish, you'll see it right here on the Ordinals site. If you guys need any more help, feel free to join our Discord server. We're going to be launching our mint soon for Ordinal Faces, and make sure to join the Ordinals Discord as well. There's a lot of people that enjoy helping out others who are trying to inscribe. But other than that, that's it. Thank you guys.